in these tragedies that are incomprehensible, like, what do you cling to? And so dark, there's no words to like explain it, but we just choose to cling to that hope that all is not lost, and even in the darkest of dark, God can meet us there.
I'm Bridget Richardson with Mac Studios at University of St. Thomas in Houston, and you're about to meet Ricky Vazquez. He's a songwriter, worship leader, and recording artist. Here's his first song, Runaway.
From my very first breath to the last that I'll breathe, and everyone in between, you have been there for me. From the moment I wake to the moment I sleep, Lord, you wait patiently, you don't tire of me. When I lose my way, when I'm losing faith, you reach out your hand, hold me up again. There's nothing that I'll ever do, there's nothing that I have to prove. When I'm a runaway, you never run away. There's nothing that'll change your mind, no child that you leave behind. When I'm a runaway, you never run away. From the beginning of time to the end of all days, Lord, your love will remain. Oh, your love stays the same. When I lose my way, when I'm losing faith, you reach out your hand, hold me up again. There's no end to grace, no expiration date. You've seen my worst mistakes and love me anyway. There's nothing that I'll ever do, there's nothing that I have to prove. When I'm a runaway, you never run away. There's nothing that'll change your mind, no child that you leave behind. When I'm a runaway, you never run away. You never run away. When I fall, you don't fall out of love. When I run, you don't run out of mercy, God. When I fall, you don't fall out of love. When I run, you don't run out of mercy, God. When I fall, you don't fall out of love. When I run, you don't run out of mercy, God. When I fall, you don't fall out of love. When I run, you don't run out of mercy, God. There's nothing that I'll ever do, there's nothing that I have to prove. When I'm a runaway, you never run away. There's nothing that'll change your mind, no child that you leave behind. When I'm a runaway, you never run away.
Thanks for sitting down with me to talk about your music, Ricky, and thank you for Runaway just then.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about you musically, your childhood growing up. What was that like?
Yeah, so I grew up most of my life in Miami, Florida. My family's from Puerto Rico. And we'd spend our summers there and most of our time in Florida. And I actually didn't play music in this capacity my whole life. I played piano growing up. That was only because my sister decided to take lessons and I was jealous. So I started doing lessons also, and then she quit and I kept going. And then that was only like classical though. And then I started singing later on because a girl I met at church heard I could sing. My pastor at that church was a really kind man who invited me to go to this summer camp. So a lot of my kind of coming into the faith happened at that camp. But as that song Runaway mentions, I constantly was running back and forth between going to church and not. And then eventually I got asked to work at that camp for whatever reason. I don't know what they were thinking. And that's really where like my life transformed. And I really grew into my faith. And then suddenly all the music I was playing for attention shifted to being just, a vessel to share all that had happened for me.
And this song, Runaway, how did that, like, what was the inspiration for that, sort of like the moments going into that song that shaped what it is?
Yeah, so that's actually one of the few songs on my record that I wrote completely by myself. I was feeling really down. I had like a really tough week where I felt pretty distant from God. And I kind of just like this song came out. I almost sang it over myself when I didn't believe it, but I was just saying like, there's nothing that I'll ever do. There's nothing that I have to prove. When I'm a runaway, you never run away. I remember that part just came out like as one thing. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I still didn't believe it at the time because I was like, there's some things that I will do that he won't like. Yeah. But yeah, it just kind of flew out of that. And then it made me think of my whole life, like in the times where I felt the most distant from God is when he was the closest to me. So I was just thinking from my very first breath to the last that I'll breathe, like all those lines kind of showed that no matter where in the journey I've strayed, I just remembered that he never did.
When you play that song, Runaway, do you go back to that place? Or do you think of how at present you still feel like that? Or do you feel like that at all anymore, that you're still running away in different ways?
Yeah, I think in a sense we're all kind of runaways at different times in our lives, and that's like a continual journey. So it's a good reminder for me every time I sing it and play it, just like his closeness, even when we are distant. And like in the bridge when it talks about, when I fall, you don't fall out of love. When I run, you don't run out of mercy, God. So just, that continual reminder that though I continue to do those things, he's consistent. And if I can trust in that, then there's nothing to run away from. It's a continual reminder that I always need. So
yeah, and it like when you do that, is that song just for you? Or are you hoping that there's like that kid out there who feels like they're running away, or they're constantly like turning away from God, but God's mercy is bringing? Do you see that person, or you're like, no, this is like, I need to hear this and always remind myself?
It started out very personal, like as a reminder for me. But yeah, this whole summer I've been playing that song for a bunch of kids that reminded me of myself. And and people have resonated with it a lot, and it just has become more than just personal. It's kind of like a rally cry, I think, for young people, because it's so easy to fall into shame or feel like God couldn't love me because I did X, Y, Z. But this song is just like that example that his love never changes. It's us that change, but there's always that opportunity to come back to that love. So there's a project I'm a part of called Village Lights, where we did a song in both English and Spanish that was a big part of my journey, because during sound check I was messing around with my friend Ike at an event and I just started singing it in Spanish. Oh, cuán hermoso es nuestro Salvador, canta aleluya, Cristo vive. And Ike was like, you got to sing it in Spanish tonight. It was a really beautiful, I remember the cameraman, who's a friend of mine, just started like weeping. Yeah. And he's from Mexico. And
I just was like, oh, this is important. And it kind of never stopped. So from that point on, everything I did, I sang in Spanish as well. That's been a big part of my life and my ministry, just being able to do a lot of music bilingually and try and like reach people that are like me that speak Spanish at home but grow up here and are kind of in this in-between where you're not 100% like fit in here and you don't 100% fit in there when you visit, and your cousins make fun of you for how you say certain things in Spanish. And just like a lot of the people I meet are kind of like in that in between like me, and just being able to sing and praise in both languages is a really beautiful opportunity.
And that kind of almost goes into All Is Not Lost, which is a very different song in tone. So tell us a little bit about how that song came about.
Yeah. So I wrote that song with two of my favorite writers, and I was super excited about this write because I love both of them. And I was like, I want to write a fun song. Like, let's just go in and write like a banger. And that same week, we had like a huge tragedy in our local community at Covenant High School, a shooting that happened very close to home. All three of us had a friend who attended that church that's a part of that school. And yeah, we were just not feeling writing a fun song. And we didn't even really know what to write. And I think it was Leslie who kind of brought this phrase, all is not lost, just like in these tragedies like that are incomprehensible, like what do you cling to? And like God never said there wouldn't be suffering, but did say he would be with us in that suffering. And she mentioned this friend of hers who had lost someone and just had that mantra, like all is not lost. And it became kind of a rally cry of like, I can't make sense of this situation at all, but I just trust that all is not lost. For the chorus, we wanted to say a lot of things and like almost like answer it, like what can we have hope? And nothing felt right, because in that moment when something like that happens, there's no like answer to it, you know? So I think it was me. I just was like, ooh, which kind of sounds like almost playful. But there was no words, and then just screaming like, oh, it's not lost. And it kind of like became this like encouragement almost. But yeah, in some of those lines, my favorite line in the song is, when the dark is so deep, it can't be explained. Because it really is like that sentiment, like something like that, that's such like a senseless tragedy and so dark. There's no words to like explain it. But we just like choose to cling to that hope that all is not lost. And even in the darkest of dark, God can meet us there.
Yeah.
And I don't really know why those things happen, or I'm not here to like explain it. It's just trusting that even in those places, there is reason to hope.
Yeah. And if you'll do that part, that ooh, will you do? Because that was my favorite part of the song, because I'll tell you why. You could go ahead and if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Ooh, all is not lost. Ooh, all is not lost.
Like, I don't know if this comes to you, but to me it feels like Lamentations. Like, even that part, it feels like a psalm because of the way that you put it together. And then you are crying out, like you are yelling. You're like, it's almost saying, God, all better not be lost because this is horrible.
Yeah.
So that's what it felt like when I heard it.
Yeah, and I think for me, like, it's a song that's hard to play, but that moment, just screaming out, all is not lost, it feels like a release, almost like you just want to like scream it out. And I think the song itself is kind of like that tension, like the suffering is so deep that it's like you're not feeling hopeful in that moment, you know, but you have to just cry out hope over yourself and just like scream out in grief, you know. Like sometimes some of my favorite prayers are prayers that are not when I'm not feeling close to God and I just want to like scream. And sometimes like that release and that conversation is is important as well. And a lot of times we try to shy away from some of these darker feelings. And I especially, I'm a big silver lining, avoid my feelings type of person.
Yeah.
And just like screaming out in the pain just feels really good.
Yeah. So from the record, like, what do you hope that people sort of come away from it with, knowing that there is this sort of like marrying of the two, of the, integration of the whole person, if you will?
Yeah. This record, I've been wanting to put something out for a long time and kind of have talked myself out of it in a multitude of ways. And this collection of songs have kind of like stayed true through that time. And I think have really served me. So my ultimate goal is that it just serves the listener, and it meets different people where they're at. If people are in a time of grief, there's songs for that. And if people are in a time of joy, there's songs for that. And even in each of those, there's room for like tension in that. Yeah. And it's really just a picture of my own journey, but I just hope it also can meet people wherever they are in their journey as well.
Awesome. Well, let's hear it. All is not lost.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. For the times you're afraid and feeling alone, on the days that you question all that you know, when you run far away but still long for home, all is not lost. When the dark is so deep it can't be explained, when you're tired of waiting for something to change, but the pain that you carry is finally named. Ooh, all is not lost. Ooh, all is not lost. When your trust has been broken, wondering why, and the truth you believed in feels like a lie, there's no easy answer to make it alright. All is not lost. All is not lost. Life is gonna be hard. We're okay where we are. All is not lost. There is space here to feel, and those feelings are real. All is not lost. Until your last breath, till the sun doesn't rise. When the dust settles down and you wake up in light, all is not lost. Oh, all is not lost. Oh, all is not lost.